Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Jim and Sam Town Square. Today, we're recapping week 3 of May 2023. I'm Scott King. Jim and Sam fans know me from the Forbes articles I've written about the guys, and I'm joined, as always, by multi-Emmy award-winning television producer Chris Cangilla. Chris, how's it going? Again, we have a lot to talk about here.
As we always do. Thank you, Scott. And of course, we never get to say your accolades, but what an incredible week you had with some great interviews and coming out and videos and stuff. There was, if you don't get it, if anybody hasn't had a chance to look up Scott and check out his interviews on the YouTube page, it is worth the wait and worth the effort, I should say.
Thank you.
Little good stuff. But yeah, for Jim and Sam, a good week. We did get cheated one day, and I have a little bit of an issue with that. But no, it was great to have them live for 3. I'll take it. I'll take one day of live. I don't care. I just like listening.
Yeah, and they understand. Like when they get the tweets, like, "Where are you guys?" Like even the angry ones, they don't care because it means they always talk about that. Like people want the show. It's good.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So we got them back on Tuesday, and not only did we get Jim and Sam back, but apparently some bees are back as well.
Yeah, the bees are back. I guess Jim went and saw his mother for Mother's Day and was driving back, and he took a kind of a detoured route through Staten Island. I thought he was going to say hello to the Tefts, but no. He was driving through Staten Island, and I think at a rest stop, maybe he ran into what he thought was a Japanese or Asian beetle because it was so large and scared the living daylights out of him.
So he got scared from that. Was that the one where they thought there was something else? There was a little more research done in the show.
Travis thought it was a ground beetle, ground hornet.
Yes.
And a caller actually clarified everything. It was a killer, cicada killer, which is something that goes after those weird cicadas, and they're huge too. But yeah, it was crazy, and it led to another story of wasps and bees elsewhere.
Yes, this one was one of the best bits of the week. You have a wasp fly into Jim's luxurious apartment that's always kind of having issues as it is. And him and his girlfriend did a little Abbott and Costello routine trying to get rid of the wasp. And when I heard that the wasp, we're going to get into memorabilia and collectibles. When I heard that the wasp went behind his Woody Allen poster, I was freaking out. I was having anxiety because I wasn't picturing it framed for some reason. I was just picturing just the poster. And then later, oh, it was framed. But still, if you drop that and crack that, you got to get it reframed. You could damage the poster. So you don't know if they, some bugs could poke through and eat the posters. I was freaking out when I heard this story, and they got into a big dispute over it.
They really did. And I thought it was just a poster on the wall like we did when we were in high school. And I thought that they were going to just push against the wall and squish them that way. But you wouldn't do that to a poster that you love so much. But yeah, it was framed. And there was a lot of dispute on how to get the wasp out of the apartment. And it was funny because sometimes when Jim was angry at it, he called it a wasp. And Jim was not as angry at he called it a bee. So we're not sure if it's a wasp or a bee. But yeah, they got into a little discussion. And I guess Jim's girlfriend kind of freaked out and screamed. And Travis said he would do the exact same thing. If that happened to him, he would have that same reaction. But yeah, they had a little bit of a disagreement in how to get it out. And I guess when they are trying to remove the poster, she screamed a little bit more. Jim was worried about his hands getting bit as he's holding the poster. And in his haste, taking it out the door to the, what does he have out there? A little lanai, if you will, or a little balcony or whatever it is.
Terrace, he calls it.
Terrace, yes, the terrace.
Iced coffee, I think it's called.
I think it is, yeah. We can ask Edna about what Jim's landing off of his apartment is. But anyway, he not smashed, but he kind of damaged a little bit of the wall. Yeah, nicked the wall, which was upsetting. But he didn't damage the poster, and it gave us lots of laughs for domesticated Jim.
Yes, and domestic Jim had a domestic dispute because once the wall was nicked, his girlfriend said, "I knew you were going to do that," and Jim was already worked up. So he replied, "You effing B," is what he said. So
went to the nuclear option. He kind of got there a little quick. He apologized. He got resolved there, but yeah, it was good. Good for us.
Speaking of things that get a little out of hand, there was another, Jim and Sam. I think Sam loves these Karen videos, which are always amusing, always a little bit cringe-inducing. To see if your fellow white people usually, but this one was a bike. I think it was a nurse trying to get a bike, and someone had already ordered the bike.
Yeah, it was a whole controversy, and it's interesting too because I just saw this happened on I don't know when it happened, but they talked about it on Tuesday, and then just today I saw that someone was saying that the story was reversed, that the other guys actually had the bike and the girl, it was their, her bike, and they took it. I don't agree with that. From what I listened to, it seemed like the guys really handled it well, and this Karen, if you will, was just irate and not. It was horrible. And Jim made a good point. He doesn't she shouldn't get fired. She shouldn't, I know she's suspended from the hospital right now while they investigate, but it's just an interaction. Before we had Twitter and everything, it was just interaction.
People would have disagreements in public over things like transportation or something, and you would not lose your job and be branded a Karen for life. So that is unfair. I think that group did handle it well. Arguably, the person who said her child is going to be born with disabilities may not have handled it.
Maybe did not handle it in the best light there.
But everyone else did.
Yeah, but there's no physical contact. No one touched her. So, yeah, it was handled mostly okay.
So we were on something and we got some more developments from it this week. We were deep into why are we not hearing from our guy Mike Montone last week when we did our recap last week. And
we put that inspector hat on. We were detectives. We noticed the difference.
We're not trying to blow this up, but we usually hear
credit to Montone because we did notice his absence.
Yeah.
But what was he out for, Scott?
Oh, he had another surgery on his eye. The lazy eyewitness news. He had an eye issue from you think it would be military involved, but it was actually an old football injury. I think he got hit in the eye with football, I believe. Yeah. And now Jim was saying it looks 90% better. Mike's saying he's no more double vision. It sounds like he looks better. Sounds like he can see better. So good for him. That's awesome news.
Yeah, I'm really happy for him because, it's something that you can't control. And it's one of those things where I've met people with had a lazy eye. You're not sure where to look at them. It's hard to look them in the eye, if you will. And it's just, and I'm sure they feel that energy too. So I'm just happy for Mike that is, rectified. I know he has some healing to do still, but I can't wait to see how it looks.
I know you're like me, Chris. You love that they started going through gifts they receive. It kind of makes you question how many gifts they've gotten in the past. Is there like a big pile?
And they haven't talked about those gifts. Which ones are, they're talking about something. Maybe they haven't talked about all the other ones. Who knows? Yeah,
who knows? There might be somewhere and they might have to go through them all. But you are very good at breaking them down. You're very detail oriented with the gifts. I know we got something from somebody that may have been wronged by Rich Voss, and then somebody fixed a gift that they had sent for.
So we the guys got some custom made coasters, wooden coasters, meaning for your cup, so you don't damage the wood on your coffee table. And the guy did a great job. It's Joe, who was the guy that was going to do all the woodworking for Voss, and Voss decided to give him the Heisman and go get it on Amazon. But each one was made, I think he had the Black Caviar logo for Troy. He had a Disney thing for Travis, Sam's logo. And then I think we had maybe a Chip or a Doug Bell.
Chip Army.
So it was kind of cool. And then, of course, they got some more gifts as they ordered them this time. They got the Edna Faust coffee shirts that were messed up when the quote was in the reverse order. And they got them in the Dunkin' Donuts brown, and everything seems to be A-okay with them. Because, of course, Sam brought up why Jim didn't want him in black. What was that reason again?
Because black dye makes him itchy.
It's itchy, yeah.
Makes perfect sense to me. Real quick, I want to say that I want to give Joe props. He tweeted out a picture of the coasters. They look great, and if Jim and Sam fans want to see them, Jim and Sam's Twitter account retweeted it, so you can see what those look like. They're really good.
I'm sorry I missed that.
You want something?
Yeah, I'm going to take a look at that.
Yeah, maybe he'll make us some coasters or something. And
the town square, we're crying out loud.
We need them. Nick and Calvin definitely righted their wrongs, and I wouldn't joke about this with the tension in our country, but they included the Jersey Mike's gift cards. They did say they were reparations for their mistake before.
Yeah, it seemed like maybe Travis was hoarding those cards away from Troy, which I don't think was very nice.
He was keeping pretty close to the vest. He didn't want to reveal that, but he wound up doing it.
And you know what?
This next thing that happened on Tuesday was a big ordeal. I loved Sam's storytelling with it, and I'm going to let you take this one away because you kind of had a recent trip to the vet as well, even though Sam's might have been more of a surprise.
Yeah, Sam's was an urgent one, and I'll be brief in the recap of this. But yeah, Sam had a birthday party for one of his children, and everything was set up, but he wanted to get the dog kind of at the groomers, and then the dog can be away during the party. I have a dog that, is barking. You might even hear him today, but barking during parties, and you just got to get the dog away. So Sam's idea was to take him away, took him to the groomers. Long story, the groomers had a little accident, cut Sam's dog's foot, and they had to take it into a vet, and it was just a disaster. And Sam has a big dog. Yeah. It's a golden doodle or something like that. Labradoodle. Thank you. And so Lila Garrity, if you are the Friday Night Lights fandom like I am. But yeah, they had to do some emergency work, and Sam just told the whole story of how he had to calm the dog and the issues that they had doing the work. And it just reminds me, it's so funny. I'm listening to this on Tuesday. I went through my pet's vet appointment on Monday, and my dog is kind of challenging. We take him to the vet one time a year because he does not like going. He's kind of doesn't like to be touched or handled. So when I take him in there, I'd say, please give him the works. Do his nails, do his teeth, do the backside thing that they got to do on some of the dogs. And also, give him a bath and take care of all his checkup stuff. And he had 5 teeth extracted on Monday to go with the, 15 he had 2 years ago. He's 12, 13 years old. So he's getting up there in age. So yeah, Sam, thank God, had the groomers responsible for the payment of that bill. My dog's bill was not an enjoyable one for me for that.
It never is. You always hear about what a racket is at the vet. Speaking of rackets, with social media, you're seeing them more and more determine people's algos or algorithms. So it's really catered to your interests. And this was something that was talked about Tuesday. That kind of makes you think, okay, what is mine? And I'll let you go first, Chris. What do you see in your algos?
Yeah, it's interesting because when they talked about it, it fit with everything that, Jim was saying. I see people on high buildings climbing without any, because he loves that stuff. I'm surprised he didn't see any, beheading videos or something like that. Oh,
exactly. Something worse.
But yeah, for me, it's guitar. A lot of people playing guitars and showing how to play certain songs because I like that so much. And dog videos, which we just got done talking about. So I kind of have that in common. And then, we get some weird stuff. I like RVs, like Jim was talking about a couple of weeks ago. So I see all these conversion vans and RV stuff, and it's just like, or it's tiny houses. I don't know. I don't want a tiny house, but I just thought they're kind of cool. What about yours?
Kelly. So for me, it's different on Facebook and Twitter, I've noticed. So, people that watch on YouTube, you can see I have a Wolverine section of my little makeshift office Zoom studio here. Love Wolverine, one of my favorite characters in anything ever. So on Twitter, I will literally have Wolverine as an entertainment. Usually it's trending for, that sector of comic books and everything. I see Wolverine every day, and I see some Chicago sports. And I'm kind of less and less into sports, more into entertainment with my Forbes stuff. So it's interesting that still sticks that way. Chicago sports and Wolverine and Marvel on Twitter. And then on Facebook, this shows that I am a little like Jim. A lot of times before bed on Facebook.
Hang on a second. Please be careful on what you say next because we don't know where it's going to go, and I want you to
this is evidence. This is evidence if there was to be a proceeding. No, I am always enthralled with high stakes police videos, and I do watch them before I go to bed. So there are a lot of like when a criminal or perpetrator is trying to get away and there's shootouts, I'm always like fascinated and watching like how it's handled and what transpires. So that is what comes up every night in mine. I watch them a lot.
It made me think of that too. There's a guy that does NBA videos. I forget his last name. It's Rob. And when he is in Los Angeles, he loves to live stream on Twitch California highway chases.
Oh yeah, those two. Yeah.
So I get into those really quick. But you're talking about your makeshift office. This is mine, obviously. Yeah. And I see this painting. I don't have poor taste. It's kind of a weird looking painting behind me, but there's a reason for it. My best friend that I grew up with was a blue man, or
awesome.
The guys that drum and do the shows.
Great show.
And part of their thing is they put paintballs in their mouth. They spin the canvas there and they spit the paint, and that's his from his first show in New York.
That's
So,
awesome. What a cool thing.
Yeah, it's kind of nice having it up there, and I just kind of wanted to make sure people knew that, it's not that I just think that's a cool looking painting, which it's not bad, but it's memorable to me.
It's good that you pointed it out because people are probably like me, where you're looking at those shiny Emmys more, and then you see that beautiful artwork from the Blue Man Group show.
I just bought those. I didn't. Just kidding.
Knockoffs.
Exactly.
And then let's go to the SI covers real quick, so we get to Wednesday. So SI has this, we're being, age friendly, body, love your body, all that. They're going to do that. So do you remember who was all on the covers? We have Martha Stewart.
Yeah.
Megan Fox. And I don't remember if there's a plus size model or not this time.
Not sure about that. Growing up, the Sports Illustrated issue was the must thing to have in high school and college. It was our, for lack of a better word, Playboy for the straight and narrow. But yeah, it was great to have that. And yeah, Martha Stewart was on this one, and she did look great. Now I'm sure there's some touch up work on that things, but I was amazed at 81 or something like that. She looked terrific. So yeah, it was kind of cool.
Sure. And I think they completely shot themselves in the foot and did away with their whole natural beauty thing by having Megan Fox on the cover, who may or may not have had some procedures. Anyways.
For sure.
We hear, getting to Wednesday, there was a little bit of perhaps a revelation that Jim and Sam themselves may have been hanging out on Monday and joked that was the reason perhaps for not having the show Monday. And they said that when there's no shows and there's reruns, just know that the boys are summering together.
It makes me feel better about missing a live show if I know that the boys are, holding hands or maybe going up to Lake George, which is
one stuff.
Yeah, Jim's one of his favorite vacation spots was Lake George. So maybe they're just being boys together. They always go to break and they say things that they're going to do. Let's go to break and let's make what they're going to say. And it's usually not something that Sam wants to be part of. But maybe that happens when they're summering together. I just want them to be in love and to be together.
Yeah, just having a good time, enjoying each other's company. And Chris, what did we find out that Lake George is good for on Wednesday show?
Well, Lake George offers some of the best soaps and fresh fruit, according to Jim, which is always, it's important to travel 3.5 hours out of Manhattan, north of Albany there to get your soaps and fresh fruit. But, it's just showing that there's a softer side of Jim these days, and it's being clean with the soap and in healthy living with fruit, I guess.
Which makes for so much great radio, everyone's reaction to that. And the fact that he will still say hilarious, vicious things too. So he's different and he's not. It's so
angel on one side, devil on the other, right?
Exactly. It's still so interesting, his role on the show. So we hear about that. And then we heard, I think hopefully we get more and more, but we heard a little bit about that they're still in the planning phase for Jim's next big bash, the Duck and Goose Soiree. And a great line from Monson. If you want to tell us what he might.
Yeah, I'm not sure who brought it up, but they were talking about how this came shortly after they're talking about Monton's new eye, and they decided to call it the debutante eyeball instead of the debutante ball. So Jim's party may be known as the debutante eyeball.
Yep.
In celebration of Mike's new eye.
Yep. And I always love when they get into, you're speaking of Jim, when he gets into his old stand-up stories and what it was like on the road and heading to the city from New Jersey when he was in New Jersey trying to be a New York comic. And we got to hear about those early days, and there was some more Phil Selman talk.
Yeah, I guess Phil was a guy that really helped these up-and-coming comics find locations to gig at, and they admire him and thank him dearly for that. They delve into his career a little bit more, and they found out that maybe he was doing a show that looked at a decent venue using a guitar amp as his PA system and a microphone cable that was maybe 3 to 6 feet long, so he couldn't roam too far. So,
pretty stationary.
Challenging, right?
Yes. And I think that he did help a lot of comics. It certainly sounds that way. And the reason he's on the show, or at least first got on the show, is because Jim gives him a lot of credit. But Phil, the best part about Phil is he is still chasing that credit and that salute from Adam Sandler. He wants to make it known that he helped get Adam Sandler his start as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, we wish Phil the best of luck on that.
He's
of
awesome.
course.
And keeping things moving here, we have talked about this, I think even recently on the show, that we know Sam loves wrestling. We know he's a big collectibles guy. And he knows that Jim has, from, I believe, performing at a bachelor party, has a Shane McMahon T-shirt that pretty much none exist or existed outside of that event. And there's still been no indication that Jim will give that shirt to Sam.
Jim's just toying with him, and it's something I think it's probably the thing that Sam wants most out of their relationship. He doesn't even want a good partner for the radio show. He wants that shirt. And so it really gets at Sam, and they like poking the bear on that one too. And they were talking about things that Jim would get, more Kiss things, and we can talk a little bit more about what Jim did get through eBay. But Sam, they were like, Sam, if you got Gene's boot, would you trade that to Jim for that T-shirt? What would you trade to Jim? So it was a whole controversy what Sam might trade to get that cool T-shirt that's one of a kind, I guess.
Yeah. Do you remember what he would trade?
I don't exactly. I was thinking it was a boot, but it was
probably a lot. And here's the thing. I don't know if Jim's joking. I think Jim is also a collector of things, movie things, Kiss. I think he knows it's valuable, or it just doesn't want to get to the basement to open the box, because there's not a lot of like jokes from Jim about it. It's like the subject just kind of changes.
Yeah, I can see a part of that, but I just feel that Jim truly loves Sam.
Oh, for sure.
He would make Sam, that would make Sam happy, and Jim doesn't really care. It's in the basement in his storage unit in a box. I don't think Jim loves it that much.
I think so. Some other rare stuff he has too.
Yeah, but what he does love are the Chopper posters.
Exactly.
And I think he mentioned that he might have gotten them. Is that right?
He did. So our suspicions that he had purchased them when he was talking about diving into those Facebook groups, which we knew could be an issue, and he would spend a lot of time doing that. So he got them from there, it sounds like, and it sounds like he's buying some other posters too. Yeah,
he's just going after stuff. And they made a joke about, of course, you bought multiple things. You can't just buy one thing. You have to buy multiple things of that. And that led to Sam talking about that new Netflix show, right? The King of Collectibles, I think it is.
Yes.
And, I don't collect much at all. Maybe some instruments, some guitar stuff, but I played them. Do you collect many things?
I do. So that show, I started to watch the first episode. Is really cool. Golden is about golden auctions. They are the biggest kind of auctions and buyers and sellers of collectibles, from what I understand. And the thing that really spoke to me was getting things like graded and certified in the private signings, because that is something I do in my spare time. So I had a comic collection. I still have a lot of it that I started when I was in grade school. And later, when I found out Stan Lee was doing signings, I had him sign some, and I've sold some, and I still get some. And now I'm also sending them in when I hear actors from the MCU are doing private signings. I send some books in and basically sell some so I could keep my collection and keep it going. It's like a trade-off,
Let me ask you a question on that, because that kind of came up during the show. When you send that stuff out, is it just you insure it? You hope that it comes back in a certain way? Because are you going to the places? Are you actually?
No, I used to, but I'm a bit busy now to do that. And so, like, some people will be in Chicago. They have these big comic conventions. Some actors will be in Chicago like once a year, twice a year for them, but they're all over the country. So you hear like, oh, that guy's there. He's not going to be here. I'm going to send some books over to this third party I know, and they basically have a witness, and it gets certified by a company called CGC, which is like the biggest certifier of comics.
When you send them out, like, are you worried that they could get damaged or lost? And
so my experience, it's never happened. Been doing this since 2009. Never happened. Yeah. So the more expensive ones, I do get insurance with shipping.
Okay,
is what I do. So yeah, it's fun, man. I love how. Here, so real quick.
Why Scott is going to pick up something and show us. Yeah, I mean, they were just talking about how those shows are just.
I love how they look. After you get them, so this is the label.
Tilt it back a little bit. 9/6. Oh my goodness, that's great, and it's protected.
X-Men 500 signed by one of the best comic book artists, Alex Ross and Stan Lee. So
that is incredible.
This is what I get, and I love them. Yeah.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. It's nice to have a healthy habit like that, right?
I don't know if my wife calls it that, but not to go
Well,
much of a
you can get into a lot of more destructive behavior than that.
yes.
Maybe the kids' college fund is enhanced or depleted. We don't know.
And so my collectibles habit gets us into our next topic with fake reality shows because I was on one. I was on AMC's Comic Book Men, Kevin Smith show.
I
I
had no
sold
idea.
a comic signed by Stan Lee, a Punisher one, to those guys, and it was fun. And they talked about the especially the Vegas show, Pawn Stars.
Yeah,
There's always like, yeah, our experts right around the corner, and it's
sure. They're
hilarious.
right
That's
next
how
door.
reality shows are.
I got to call a guy that is an expert in pre-World War II bullets. Something weird, and yep, he's right across the street. We'll bring him over. It's like, what? Yeah. So yeah, it's crazy. And then they also talk how stupid some of the acting is by the people in this show, and it's all scripted. And Troy kind of nailed it. It is exactly, it's horrible. And to me, the people that watch these kind of reality shows and believe that that's really happening, that the person's like, hey, I just brought these in, it's all set up, it's all produced, are the same people that believe the War of the Roses or Carmen Calls on terrestrial radio. It's the same thing. It's like, please don't get so hoodwinked by these reality shows. Enjoy them for what they are. There's many times I'm watching, a drama and it's far-fetched as far as like, a spy thing. You just kind of, it's not reality and you just go with it. So don't believe that these things are exactly happening.
Exactly. And I will give that show, Kevin Smith and his crew, credit because there was no like, you're going to sell it, you're going to buy it. Yeah. It was a legit transaction. I pretty much got what I paid for it. So I could justify taking the trip there. I got some cash for it. And they just had some guys try out some funny lines kind of while we were there. It was pretty legit. I really enjoyed it. And that also brings us into a reality show causing Jim and Troy to get a little bit of the fog, a little bit out of it for maybe a few minutes.
Yeah, go ahead and tell us a little bit more of how that brought it up.
It sounds like Troy on the show is the biggest fan of American Pickers. They were talking about American Pickers, and I believe they were admiring, I think Danielle is one of the people on
co-hosts. Yeah. And they were going into all the things that they love about the show and then just takes a left turn into the fog. And it's hard to get those guys back, and they have to go on to another subject. I mean, Sam and Travis try, but we know what happens with Jim and Troy.
We do. Something we didn't know, and it was like a throwaway line from Jim, was that he spray tanned recently. And I don't know if this was...
Not once. He's done it twice, we heard about. Twice. Yeah, and here's the thing. So he's spray tanned. I don't know, like you're going to say, probably, I don't know if he did it for a role, or if he did it for his personal life. Or did he do it so he could maintain sleeping in another bedroom? Because if you recall, he and his girlfriend were sleeping in other separate bedrooms because she got a spray tan one time and he's worried about the sheets getting damaged from that tan. So maybe he's like, I got to prolong this other bedroom thing. So I'm going to get a spray tan so I can stay in my cooler bedroom and not the hot one.
This is why our show is taking off. I love your theories. I love your angles. We dive so deep into Jim and Sam. And
maybe too deep. People are like,
I disagree.
Well, my wife thinks I'm an idiot, but that's okay.
The podcast statisticians in Ireland beg to differ with you.
Yeah, we're doing pretty well in Ireland.
Notification that this podcast is very big in Ireland.
It was weird to get this email saying your podcast is ranked this high in Ireland. I'm like,
awesome.
Okay.
But no, I thought maybe for a role, or maybe because we've heard his girlfriend does that, and he's just trying to look a little snazzy. But yeah, maybe let me that thing.
Let me ask you what this is. Noise in the studio.
Yeah,
in my little studio, my dog's barking. Was that happening at Sirius again? Tell me what was going on there.
I heard it, and like you, probably my stomach dropped, and I'm like, you feel for them a little bit. If there's going to be ongoing construction at Sirius, they probably would have heard if there is. So it's probably just been a one-time thing, maybe outside the building or something. But that was some of the funniest radio a couple of years ago when I was going on. It was so loud, and they're doing it during morning radio at a radio company.
So frustrating that it's do it any other time. I know it's expensive to do stuff overnight, but do it anytime. And I've worked at some studios that had to do some stuff like that, and it was really hard. The floor above us was being refinished in cord or something like that. It's like, how are we supposed to work? Working at a TV station? How are we supposed to work in the studio? So yeah, it was crazy. And then we heard that because Jim went to the opera one time, he's getting calls from them to see if he wants to go again, which was just like, come on.
He's a man of high stock. I can see him in the opera.
Yeah, he's not a man of low stock, that's for sure.
By no means. Speaking of high stock, Chrissy Mayer, who was recently thrown off a plane for... I didn't think that she was dressed too scantily clad with her friend, I believe, Keanu. That was so funny. I saw that kind of like trending on Twitter, and then I didn't realize it was her, and I knew who she was, and she's on the show talking about it. We might get into her a little more when we talk about guest of the week, and we got a few more minutes here. So Jim's career is doing very well. You're hearing how much he's selling out like every venue, and it sounds like he's filming a few things as well. But I think because so much is going on, he said he's getting a little stressed out, and that stress and that tension is manifesting itself in very Jim ways.
Yeah, it's not as bad as it used to manifest itself, but there are some purchases and some tugging going on. But I will tell you this, the funniest thing that happened, and I know we got to go kind of quick here, is when they're talking about the new kind of, let's just say, modern day story of the Troy pooping his pants during a fight.
Yes.
Happened recently, caught on video for somebody else. And so they went to the expert Troy about all the things that happened in that video. And it was kind of funny.
He was the expert. It's like, he was like Joe Rogan calling a fight during that video. That video is hard to watch. The kid fighting and soiling himself. You could see it there. And I think Troy was lucky that nobody found out about it. Yeah. But yeah, definitely a crazy video. And my friend and I, we go on, he does it, by his house. I do on mine. When you get a little break during work, you take a long walk. And when you have to go to the bathroom and you're out far from your house, he calls it a code brown. That's kind of my...
Well, I have a little bit of the same kind of thing when I go out to eat. And it's kind of like, they think they call it a spastic colon, where it just, you eat and you have to go. And my wife's, if she sees it in my face, she goes, "Are you having a situation?" A shit-juation. So, that
sounds happens. Like Sam's dog.
Exactly. So it happens quite a bit. We're running out of time. We should probably move forward to our guest of the week. Do you have a guest of the week? It's kind of limited.
Yeah, let's do it. So we had Chrissy, and we were talking before the show, as we do, about big matters, Jim and Sam, and I think we're going to count John Cena. He's on the show. Sam interviewed him in person, and Chrissy's great. She knows the guys well. She's very funny. I loved hearing her, she's like, maybe we should have done this, but I think they were she wasn't like completely outraged and wasn't obnoxious about it. And I did think her and her friend were wrong. So
I didn't think what she was wearing.
I think it was fine. But the John Cena interview was great. It's a huge get from Sam. I know I'm sure he's talked to him before.
Yeah, if you weren't paying close enough attention, you might have skipped it. It did happen after the show on Thursday, and he had about a half an hour with John, and it was incredible where they were able to really be comfortable, tell great stories. So for me, I love Chrissy, but that John Cena interview was great, and Sam did a fabulous job. He asked the right questions,
For sure, and he's done that so long. If you happen to see these A&E documentaries they do about WWE, Sam is excellent on them as kind of the talking head expert. They have him on a lot. So yeah, that's his world, and he's great.
Sam's going through the hourglass really quickly on us here right now. Why don't we get to the line of the week? You go first for me, my friend.
Look,
I can go.
Yeah,
you go. You go. All right, I'll go. So Sam was telling the story about the vet giving his dog the injection, and Sam said it's okay because I was in front of her, not behind her, so the dog could see me the whole time. And Travis said, "Yeah, it's when you get behind her that the dog starts panicking." So Travis nailed it. If you read it between the lines, Travis nailed it. Yeah,
I got it. I had to think for a second. We got a minute here. It was when they were actually talking about the collectibles and the Golden Auction show, and they found out that it was a Jackie Robinson jersey that had sold for $7 million, which is insane for collectibles and things not in a museum. And Jim goes, was he still in it? And I think that he follows it up with his skeleton.
For that much money, you got to have the whole thing, maybe for a little DNA. But
so that's the best line. And here we are coming to an end, everybody. We got through it. It was a short week, but we had so much to talk about. Thank you so much for watching and listening. And thank you, Chris.
Absolutely, Scott. Thank you so much. And everybody, come join us in the town square next week.
Thanks for watching and listening to the Jim and Sam Town Square. Please remember to like and subscribe and turn on that notification bell, not dog bell, so you don't miss an episode.
And if you're just listening to the podcast, please leave us a 5-star review. We really appreciate it.